You are missing the fundamental difference here. I mean, when people demand dollars, it's because they need them to settle transactions. People are still using the dollar as a medium of exchange. First of all Americans need dollars to pay taxes. I mean, because taxes are required to be paid in dollars. So there's always going to be demand. But people are buying oil. OPEC prices oil in dollars. There are all sorts of global trades that are settled in dollars. There's an entire bond market. That is in dollars. So the world is using dollars. Now, I agree, eventually they'll stop because they shouldn't be using dollars, but they are. So there's demand. There is demand for gold. I mean, only about 2 trillion of gold's, 13 trillion market cap is investors holding gold. The rest of it is used in industry, or central banks hold it as their main reserve other than fiat. But most of it is used. I mean, it's used in jewelry. It's used in electronics. There are people who need gold, and they buy gold every day because they need it. Nobody needs Bitcoin for anything.
Yes, they do.
The only people, let me finish. The only people buying Bitcoin are people who think the price is going to go up. You know, earlier you said, does the institutions buying Bitcoin prove that it's the new store of value? The only thing Bitcoin proves is that P.T. Barnum was right. There's a sucker born every minute, and those suckers are buying Bitcoin. This is without a doubt the biggest scam I've seen in my entire investment career. Of all the bubbles that I've witnessed, from the .com to housing, nothing can compare with the idiocy of Bitcoin and the complete, the nonsense that I hear people say in support of Bitcoin, and the things that they say about gold to try to diminish its value, to try to create this false appeal for Bitcoin. I've never seen anything more ridiculous. Nothing that I heard people say during the .com bubble or the housing bubble can compare to the irrational comments that I hear every day from people about Bitcoin.
All right, Alex, let's talk on the utility aspect that Peter brings up. What is Bitcoin's utility?
So it's Peter and Jamie Dimon against the rest of the world. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But
Look, the whole world is not in on Bitcoin. Stop exaggerating.
Well, Peter, we have seen the adoption rate increase at a drastic pace, something like 2,300% just from the last quarter of 2019, about 880% from June of last year to this year. So the adoption rate is increasing exactly 2,300% since the third quarter of 2019. So the trend is pointing to mass adoption.
No, it's not pointing to mass adoption. Not even close. There are more people using it, but they're using it for speculation. They're not using it as a medium of exchange. They're not. It's not a currency. They're not doing anything with it.
Most people who understand financial systems, they understand that they need to migrate from the old gold standard to the new gold standard, and the new gold standard is Bitcoin. Because
the old gold standard works great. What's wrong with the gold standard we have now? You can take digital technology and apply it to gold, and you can own gold. It's easier to do that than Bitcoin. You're trying to take something that has no value.
Peter, let's all pretend it has value. We offer today. You can open a Celsius wallet,
because I already explained that to you.
You can earn 5% yield on tokenized gold.
We're getting stuck on the same point.
People want to gamble right now. You don't see the difference? People want to gamble on Bitcoin. They're not going to want it in the future once it crashes. People are not looking for an alternative to the dollar yet. They don't realize they need one. People still have confidence in the Fed. They have confidence in the dollar. But when people lose confidence in the monetary system, they can go back to the gold standard using digital currency, using the blockchain. But they're not going to go from one, bubble into another. Bitcoin is the ultimate confidence game. It has no value. Peter, it's all just a mass delusion.
Peter, let me ask you this. You're so convinced that Bitcoin is going to inevitably land up at zero. You said in one of your tweets, you can see it going up to $100,000, even more, but that ultimately it's going to crash. So what do you think triggers this crash to zero, especially as we point out that more and more people are adopting Bitcoin? What is going to make all of these people change their mind and dump it and lead it to completely crumbling to zero? What's going to happen?
Well, I think all that has to happen is it really loses its momentum. I think maybe some of the institutional players, there's not that many that have come in, but some have come in to the extent that they decide to get out that, the trade isn't working out for them. I mean, look, Bitcoin got up to 60,000 back, I think it was in April of this year. And basically that's where it is right now. I mean, it hasn't really made any additional.
It made a new all-time high.
Oh, yeah, but it sold off. I mean, right now we're about 60,000. We're a little bit below where we were.
As do most assets. Hit a new all-time high, dropped. Balances potentially hit another one.
Are you moderating this, or are you just here to tout Bitcoin too? Is that your main goal of Bitcoin?
I'm here to play both sides.
I'm making a point here. You don't need to argue with me. My point is
highlighting the price facts, Peter. But go ahead and
I know that. I know that. But let me finish making my point. You're the moderator.
Go ahead.
All right?
I know, and I will continue to do so. But
yes,
finish
I know,
point.
but
I can make my own case. No problem. I don't need help.
You're clearly biased, and I get that. You're part of the shills out there that are trying to get people to buy Bitcoin. You probably have a bunch of Bitcoin advertisers. And my point is, we've had an unprecedented amount of money spent advertising Bitcoin. I mean, every time I turn on financial television, all I see, one commercial after another, highly produced, very slick Madison Avenue campaign trying to get people to buy Bitcoin or some other crypto. All of this push, massive amounts of money spent, all kinds of retail people getting sucked in, and the price hasn't gone up. So what that tells me is that there's massive distribution going on. The stronger hands that got in early have been pumping this market up, and they are gradually unloading their digital tokens to the public. They're spending all this money to con people into buying what they want to sell. And yeah, you have some people that have Johnny come lately that have been attracted by the greed, which always happens at tops of every bubble. Some of the people who were negative early on throw in the towel, they capitulate. They need to get in on it because they've missed so much action. And you get some people that come in, and that's happened. But the momentum is going to drop. Bitcoin is going to crack. Maybe once it gets back down below 20,000, you'll have a lot more selling coming in. I think a lot of people have taken out loans against their Bitcoin, which they hadn't been able to do in the past. So you have a leverage bet now among the hodlers. I think when the margin calls come, there's not going to be a way to meet them. You're going to have forced liquidation. There's not going to be anybody to take the other side of the trade. It's not like you got a bunch of shorts in Bitcoin that are going to cover. It's just going to fall into a vacuum. The whole market is going to implode. The losses are going to be horrific.
So
which price
Peter,
level?
look, it's not too late to buy Bitcoin. It's time for a shift. Peter, it's time for a shift.
If I want to lose money, it's not too late. I could buy Bitcoin and lose a bunch of money. I understand. I have a hard time believing that all of the margin debt somehow has been liquidated on the move back to 59,000. That now there are no more people that have debt on their Bitcoin. There's no way that that's the truth.
All exchanges disclose all the position. They tell you exactly how many people are long, how many are short. Part of how Celsius creates yield is by lending to these institutions, to exchanges and institutions who are putting in the long or short position. So we know exactly what is the leverage is. And by the way, if you want to join our risk department, we need people who are anti-Bitcoin to come and tell us all the things we should worry about.
Are you talking about just your book of business or throughout the entire world? You're telling me that there's no more leverage on Bitcoin, that all the loans have been repaid?
We are dealing with 300 counterparties, right? So we watch the entire market. I'm not saying there's no leverage. I'm just telling you that the retail, you're talking about retail people buying on leverage. You can measure that very, very easily, right? That is something that is available. You can go to Open Glass, or you can go to a bunch of Masari. All of these platforms show you exactly the leverage. Let's put it this way. The stock market is at all-time leverage, right? The leverage in the stock market is the highest it's ever been in history.
Yeah, look, the stock market's a bubble too. I'm not going to deny that.
That's a bubble of hundreds of trillions of dollars. So
just because Bitcoin is only bubble. Bitcoin is a bigger bubble in that the stock market has
the dollar market or the crypto market.
Look, the stock market is overvalued, right? Bitcoin has no value. 100% of its price is a bubble.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information, and it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.